Hello, everyone. Let's get this here set up. There we go. Um, so my name is Chris Lippe. I'm the founder and guy that kind of runs Reveal My DNA. And the some of the other team members are on here as well, listening to us. Our director of education, who's Ben Viola, director of sales, which is Adam Davis, and then our administrator. Um, and I would be absolutely remiss if I didn't mention her because she runs everything within this organization, and that's Melissa Bellis. Most of you probably know her at some point, whether it be if you're new to looking at this as adding it to your practice, or if you are currently using Reveal My DNA and kind of what that looks like as far as um, the different things that she does for us. So Melissa can help with all sorts of things from registering tests to answering questions about how to get results from the portal, et cetera. So Melissa, she is the backbone to what we do here. So much thanks for Melissa and what she does and kind of puts together. So as I had mentioned today, there's not going to be slides. This is just me kind of sitting here. I feel like I'm up on a soapbox a little bit, but just going to chat and talk a little bit about Reveal My DNA. So a lot of you have accounts with us. Some have not ever ordered before, um, and then others order on a real regular basis, and then there's others that have come to us here by getting an email at some point somewhere and are just wanting to learn a little bit more. So we'll kind of cover a bunch of different bases today. So I'm just going to start out with Reveal My DNA. Is like, who are we? So we are a company that offers what I would call cutting edge technology in the genetic space. We are partnered strategically with a lab in Houston, Texas, by the name of Gene by Gene, and we are their U.S. distribution representative. And so with that, we are able to use all of their testing, and they've got two sides to their company in the lab. One is pharmacogenetics for more of a disease state findings, and then on the other side is in the nutrigenomic side, which is where we fit and kind of operate, and that's in the preventative model of genetics. Um, Gene by Gene is really well known. They are just top notch as far as they go, as far as quality. One of the points I do want to touch on, because we get this fairly often, is they are a commercial laboratory, a commercial genetic laboratory, versus a retail laboratory. And what are those differences? When a sample of genetic tissue is collected, whether it be through a cheek swab or even possibly a blood test, when that is loaded into the system, it starts spinning at a very high rate, and it separates out all the different proteins to get to the targeted genetic material that we want. A retail lab will test on the very top surface levels, and the accuracy of that is not as strong as a commercial lab, as well as the reliability of the outcome. Our outcomes are over 99% in the accuracy side. And we get so deep in this spinning of this commercial lab that Gene by Gene actually works with 16 different metropolitan police departments and are also the lead analyzer for the FBI here in the United States. So really super high quality tests that we're doing. And when we built this company, we kind of went to them and said, look, we'd love to take what you're doing and take it into the preventative space and get out there and work with acupuncturists and naturopathic doctors and nutritionists and chiropractors, integrative medical doctors, which a lot of you fit into those categories. And we were able to take their pricing and get it to a point where it could be, at a consumable level for you and for your patients, but at this super high quality test. So that's what we did about a year ago. And we've been in the market now for a bit. We've got close to 600 doctors that are ordering on a regular basis. And we appreciate all of you. Thank you all so much for the business. So little details there on that, commercial versus retail lab. It is an important thing because the retail labs, without mentioning names, are doing, more of your, ancestry type backgrounds, or even there's others that do it in this preventative side, but it's very topical. You're not going to get really specific to crossing in the variants with the genes, which I'll explain that to you guys here in just a few minutes when we talk about our test and some of the reports. Um, so Reveal as a company, we're practitioner based, and you order your test through us. We send you tests to have on stock or in stock, and then you issue that to a client of yours. And as the test is issued, that's when payment happens. So there's no charge for you upfront to have a test. So you can open an account with us. You can go to our website to do that. Melissa, if you want, you can also post the link to the website, just so that we have that, if anybody has any questions about how to open an account with us. Process there, fairly simple. Some people do run into some questions when they get emails and so forth that come to them as far as the opening process. And if you have any questions about that, Melissa is a great resource to help walk you through that. So you can also reach out to Melissa. Melissa, maybe post your email even in there, which is essentially her name at revealmydna.life. So our test, again, they're this really high quality, commercial grade test. And out of that, you get these amazing actionable results. So actionable that we even give you with our primary test right now, a shopping list of different groceries to go buy, et cetera. And I'm going to show you a sample of the test here in just a few minutes when we get to that. But that's the biggest key, that these test results are actionable. You're going to be able to see the strengths and the weaknesses in the genetic makeup of your client or patient, and then be able to recommend either a nutrient or a series of foods that they should be eating, or even a supplement if it's a supplement that you use, a certain brand or whatnot. We are completely brand agnostic here. We don't support necessarily any direct brand per se. We have multiple different brands in our genetic reference guide, which is available to you to help pair up products with certain genetic SNPs that you might run into. So that is something that is available to you. You can request that again from Melissa, and she can get that to you as well. Might actually be on our website. I think it might have to be emailed, but we'll double check on that. So our test, let's talk about our test that we currently offer. We call this our comprehensive lifestyle test. Melissa, if you want to go ahead and pull this up so that I can just walk people through it just a little bit, that would be helpful, and I can kind of show them a little bit about what this test looks like, so that when I describe the new tests that are going to be coming, you can kind of see the difference between them there a little bit. So here's the table of contents. There's obviously a front cover page that comes with it all, but this key part right here is what I want to touch on, and that is the table of contents. So you're able to see that there's 8 sections within the test that you get back, which is our comprehensive lifestyle test. This tests 92 genes and 112 SNPs. So it is a complete comprehensive test. And it's going to cover things such as digestion and nutrient metabolism, methylation, hormone support, mental and cognitive health, detoxification, immune, DNA repair, cardiovascular. And then it goes into, after you get those 8, it breaks it down into where are your strengths, and then also where are your weaknesses. And when you get that, that's where it becomes easy to read where you need to support. You've got a weakness somewhere and you need to support that nutritionally, we give you those types of steps. So this is kind of what the strength and the I didn't see that pop up in the beginning, but the strength and the weakness side, and then the weakness I believe is in red. And you can stop right there for just a quick second. So you can look at this and it'll show you the specific gene and or SNP, and then give you some detail. Here's another part of the quality of what we love about Gene by Gene and our strategic partners in this, is that the genetic markers and the output are matched to over 900 clinically studied outcomes. Those are 900 different studies with literally thousands of data points, and they are all cross-referenced when they pull together the results that you're getting in the test, as well as the recommendations for food. It even recommends what you should go check in your blood work. And there's a section at the end, I think, that kind of covers that. And it'll tell you maybe, hey, you should have B vitamins checked or folate or whatever it might be. And it gets into the specifics of that. So this gives you, again, on a sample report, like let's take a look. Let's go back really quick right there, Melissa, to liver detoxification. So here, you'll touch on this, and if this is a weakness point, this gives so much information. It can be a bit overwhelming for your client or your patient. For you guys, what I really recommend you do is it's great to have the whole report, which is like 100 pages. But it's really coming to the strength and weaknesses page and finding the things here that also pair with what they might be telling you is going on with them and or blood work that you might have, and tying it all together. That's how you get a true picture to kind of build that lifetime protocol. And some of you have heard me call this the lifetime protocol before. Some like it, some don't. The reality is this, is that this is what you inherited from a mother and a father. And the makeup of what you need is going to stay primarily static. So if there's a mix of some nutrients here, and let's say that one of them might be for something liver supporting, such as a product like choline, and it might call for 300 milligrams or 500 milligrams, because that's what the science is calling for, you would want to find a product with that same amount of milligrams available for the particular patient. And you'll get that, and then they can take that literally as a standalone product if that's the one thing that they would need, or if it's two or three, you can build those protocols and maybe put them on a subscribe and save type program with you. If the company you work with doesn't offer that, you can just sell it to them out of the office. But something where it's targeted, so it creates, again, on a business factor, it creates a kind of like this recurring revenue model for you. So it really does help your practice overall from a business standpoint, as well as helping your particular patient or client out with whatever the recommendations might be. So when you get a weakness here, or you're looking at a specific area, the products are not listed right on this test for a differentiation, because again, we're agnostic to companies. That's where you would take the genetic reference guide, pair things up, and then choose the products that fit best to that particular area for you. And there's cardiovascular health, which is another area that a lot of people like. Methylation is, one area. Maybe we can go to the methylation report, Melissa, at the very beginning. So as these different sections pop up, the two that we hear the most about are methylation, and we'll talk about that here in a moment, because it's the most widely heard about in the news right now, whether it's from Joe Rogan or you seeing it on your Instagram feed or whatever it might be. But there's a gentleman down in Florida by the name of Gary Brecka that has done a great job marketing methylation test, and we'll touch on that here in just a few minutes. So the methylation segment is really important. It kind of gives a snapshot as to how well your body is going to take a nutrient and actually utilize that nutrient for energy in your body, for repair, healing, etc. And so it's a really important factor, and a lot of people do look at this. The other factor in our particular test that people really point to is a gene called APOE. And this is kind of what they're starting to call the master gene around cognition, Alzheimer's, dementia, etc. There is a lot of science out there that discusses this particular gene, and whether you come in as an E2, an E3, or an E4, and those results require certain levels of support, whether it be through microcirculation or other pieces of nutrients that you would use. There's herbs, such as ginkgo, that could be really supportive as well. As a matter of fact, we're having, I think is it next Monday? I believe it's the 23rd, or 2 Mondays from now, September 23rd, we're having another webinar kind of in this series. This is the kickoff, but Ben Viola, who handles education, and Adam Davis, sales, they're going to do a webinar. I believe it's also at 4:00 Pacific on the 23rd. We'll get that posted in here for you as well. But that's going to be covering the ins and outs and details of APOE. It is such a vital thing that if you know early in life that you have this preponderance that something's going to happen later, and you can start to do some things now to help with the trajectory of that, I think almost everyone will do it. And really that piece that is so important is just in general, your diet. It doesn't even have to be a supplement, but just taking your diet and knowing that, hey, if I eat more, salmon because of the, omega content in that is going to be helpful to me, then you would do that. And you're kind of now you're eating for your health. A lot of people say, our food is our medicine. It's eating for our health. It's eating for that preventative health. And that's a lot of what you get out of this particular test. It's an amazing blueprint, of what you have that you were born with and what you can do to help sustain a healthy lifestyle out there. So here we're back into the test a little bit. This is the beginning page of you were a farmer. It primarily comes up with you were a farmer or you're a hunter gatherer. And it kind of breaks it down there, meaning are you leaning more towards a higher percentage of vegetable intake versus proteins, or are you higher protein intake versus vegetables? It never gets so in line to say, hey, eat this percentage or that percentage, but it gives you a preponderance. For me, I'm a farmer, so I should be having quite a bit of vegetables. So when I eat, I'm like 60 to 70% vegetables and 30% or so on that protein side. It might be a little steak on the side with some vegetables is my good overall mix. Now, I might go out of bounds on that once in a while, but it gives me and it gives your clients and your patients a really good resource as to how to eat in general. So if you just know this, you can start making those positive steps, and just taking one little step in the right direction can really alter someone's life. Again, if you start early, if someone's taking this test and they're in their teens or their 20s, they have a whole lifetime ahead of them to make some different changes. But if you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s, same sort of thing. Let's get started right now. It's never too late to get started. So, if you've not done this test yourself, I really recommend you do it for at least yourself and your family members so that you have an idea of where things are at for you. And then, top clients, et cetera. So this is methylation right here. And so we can kind of dig in here a little bit and talks about folate and so forth. Melissa, can you make that just a little bit bigger? I even have my glasses on. It was tough to see it. But anyway, so in the methylation side, there's several different genes that you're going to see that'll pop up. Thank you very much. That's much better. There we go. Excellent. So here on the left column, you'll kind of see where it says, like for folate, it's calling for a higher amount. Then there's the average need or an increased need, but you want to have the highest amount. And the genes that we have crossed here are MTHFR 677 and 1298. So again, MTHFR is not just one type thing. There's, when you look in the chromosomes, there's a bunch of different breakdowns. And to just do one, which is what a lot of the retail labs do, you just don't get quite the depth or accuracy of what the genetic makeup is really calling for. And you could be kind of wasting, your money, on supplementation or even diet plans because the accuracy may not be there. But when you start crossing, and what the science really shows is to take and cross these variations. There's different subgenes that support MTHFR, MTRR, MTR, et cetera. Also, all get taken into account in some of these different ways in methylation. But so this is a little bit of kind of what it looks like within our test if you've not seen this before. So this is something that gives you a little bit of stuff about homocysteine, high homocysteine, and a buildup there. And you can kind of go through and just get a little glimpse of this. It gives you great detail and information in the right panel box. You can take that. You can even give, like right there on that box off the right of B6, it talks about salmon, wild caught, pistachios, avocados. It's a great way to have tidbits of information right there as you're meeting with your client and or your patient. And then it's reinforced that when they take this home with them, they have it there as well. So if you've highlighted some areas for them, they can get some great guidance on food choices and then also the supplements that you might be recommending based upon this. So Melissa, let's go up to APOE, and let's talk about the cognition side just a little bit. And I see questions coming in, guys. We'll get those answered here at the end. So keep putting them there. Appreciate that, and I'll touch on those as we come together. So here is so hunter gatherer, but the very first box that comes up is APOE status. And so as you look at this, without us going too far into what each of these means, because they're going to do that on the 23rd, which will be amazing. And I think they'll go into this. This particular person right here would really want to pay attention to this particular section and follow. And you can see in the box there with the E4 checked off there to the side, you want to follow as much of this as close as possible so that you can have the best opportunity to really take care of your mental makeup by eating good quality foods, getting great sleep. Sleep is a huge part of health, plenty of oxygenation, whether it be through exercise, but also just getting outside, great, deep breathing, etc. And that's a great point right there about some of the privacy stuff. And I'll touch on that regarding Reveal and our relationship with Gene by Gene here in just a moment. So as you're looking at this test, this is kind of a snapshot of what you get. And if you are already using our test, you are well aware of this. For those of you that aren't using it yet, this is kind of, what you're getting in the output. It's literally information from a fire hose. And some love that, some just want it to be simplified. And that's where we can do it in the strengths and weaknesses in the back half of the reporting. There's the final section of this is the grocery shopping list. And if we can scan down to that at the very end, Melissa, I would love to point on this, because I think, the thousands of tests that we've done now, people talk about this probably more than anything else. But and I just met with the gentleman that oversaw putting this together, and literally these, I thought the grocery shopping list was maybe like one or two, and it just got filtered into everybody. But this particular one here, go and hold on right there for a second, Melissa. If you're a farmer or a hunter-gatherer, it's not just two. Literally, there's sub variations that go in, and based upon the science of those 900 reports, it is pulling in things in or out. You will see some things that pop up often, such as, the B2 at the top, you'll see right there is a really common thing, but it goes into all of the nutrients, the foods where you can find it. So when you go shopping, you might say, hey, I'm going to pick up some, yellow oyster mushrooms instead of just in general oyster. But if you don't like liver, there's a lot of supplements out there that you can take that have liver in them as well, fermented products. When we first saw this, we were all blown away, because the team here is all very holistic, meaning we really love like a whole food diet and so forth. We don't see anything where you're getting, folic acid sprayed on the foods. There's not going to be recommendations like that. It's been carefully considered that this is whole food, eating as much as you can from an organic source, and if possible, locally grown in your area, if possible. But so this is the shopping list. It kind of gives you an idea of what nutrients you're getting from those foods. It's colorful. Your patients love this. This report is amazing. Scroll a little bit further for us there, Melissa, and show just a little bit as we kind of go through. There's folate, talking about spinach, glycine, and talking about what you're going to get there from, different collagens or meats with the skin. For me, like chicken with skin on, like absolute one of my favorites. Magnesium, manganese. I mean, we are hitting all of these different nutrients, some amino acids. It's a really, really well done report that people just love. So that in general is the report. And Melissa, typed in something there about privacy. So I do want to touch on this just to kind of break. And like I said, I don't necessarily have an order here, guys. So I'm just chatting about the test, giving you guys some insight. One of the primary tenets of Gene by Gene and Reveal My DNA and also My DNA, the parent company, is privacy. The genetic test is something that there are 3 different firewalls that if you are wanting to make sure that things are completely secure, just know that from the point of when you register your test, your name is being attached to a test kit. At that point, it gets received at the lab, and the company MyDNA opens that. They take the data out, they separate the two, so your name and kit number are together. It reassigns a third number, passes it through a firewall into the lab. The lab then runs that, and they get the information for that particular number or code, goes through another firewall out to the reporting company, which pairs it back in the portal, which then delivers that to the doctor's portal, which is called Nucleus. So that's where you would get the results as a doctor. You would see that, you can download it and get it to your patients. Keep putting the questions in there, you guys. I love it, and I see the questions popping up. I keep glancing down at them and want to step in and answer. Some of them I might ask Adam or Ben to touch on a little bit. So as we get to that section of the afternoon here, but the privacy factor, very important to us. If you want a sample completely destroyed after it's been tested, that can be done as well. There's an email that you send in or submit, and they will take care of making sure that that's destroyed. I've walked in the labs. I see when it happens. I see when it comes off of a table, and literally we call it the bin that this goes into is locked, and then completely on the other side is destroyed. There's no way of retrieving that. If you don't want it destroyed, it is frozen in the chambers there in Houston, so that if you want retesting done, or if for some reason on your test something in that spinning testing portion, which is literally days of doing that, if there's something that's faulty, they don't pick up something and they're like, hey, there's something not right here. Maybe you had toothpaste in your mouth when you did the cheek swab and it denigrated the DNA. It would notice that, drop it off, and ask for it to either be retested or checked with you, or pull the sample back out and retest it. So it's completely up to you if you want it destroyed or not. We can do that. So that's considered our comprehensive lifestyle test. 2 practitioners, the cost of that is $295, and you can turn around and charge whatever you would like to your patient. Way most practitioners do it is they are paying for the test, so it hits their credit card when they register the test, and then they charge an additional amount. And I've seen it be $395, $495, $545. Someone else has it at $533. So I see a bunch of different prices, and that includes then the interpretation and maybe the visit fee, however you want to run it from your business. But your cost is $295. All of the shipping is included. So when you get a test kit, there's a prepaid envelope. You drop the sample, or the patient drops the sample if they take it home, and they drop it in the mail. That is covered as part of that $295 in the processing cost of doing the test. Tests typically take about 28 days to get completely turned around from the time that they come into the lab and are being completely fulfilled. There are days it hits 30. We try not to go past that, but there are times that can happen. Capacity wise, we have plenty of capacity. We currently run this lab at about 30% of capacity. So there's plenty of ability to ramp up on capacity if you've got, multiple tests coming in from your office. But just wanted to make sure I kind of manage that expectation. It isn't something that returns in 7 days or 14 days. Again, you'll see labs promote that. Those are typically, again, your less reliable and not as accurate test, because they're not going into the system. We use a system called Illumina, which is a genetic testing outfit here in San Diego, actually. So their equipment is what we're running. We're also running it on their trays, the array trays. It literally takes a while for it to spin, remove, and then test that sample. So we do about 1,000 per batch that go into the machine. And those machines are running literally 24/7. So that's our current test. Okay. If you don't have an account with us yet, you can go to our website to open an account with us. You can get that all set up, and we'll send you some test kits. You can use one of those for yourself, one maybe for a spouse or someone else that you love and care about. But I do want to announce that we have three, what I'll just at this point call subtest or precision tests. So a lot of people ask for more depth in certain areas. So the comprehensive test covers those 8 areas or segments, and it'll hit, like in methylation, maybe 2 to 3 or 4 of the genes and some cross variant genes that we'll look at, different SNPs. Well, what we've done is we've come out with 3 new tests: a detoxification test, a methylation test, and then a longevity test. And each of those is going to have a primary gene, but then it'll have a bunch of secondary genes that support that particular gene. What's important here is that it all crosses underneath to see how impactful it's going to actually be on that particular gene upstream. So let me give you an example. In the longevity test, the master longevity gene out there is called FOXO3. And there might be 10 or 15 other genes that are supportive downstream from that. We want to see how those test and interact with FOXO3 before generating the output of the report. So these reports are going to be much smaller. They'll be 10 to 15 pages and very detailed into methylation or longevity or detoxification. The price point for these 3 is going to be $229. So about, $60 or $70 less than the comprehensive test. Again, it's not as big of a report, but it's getting very detailed. If someone's really interested in understanding what's going on within methylation with them, this would be a great, test to take. Again, I mentioned earlier that there's a gentleman out there that's selling a methylation test. And I think they charge $600 or something like that for it. And it literally is 5 genes. Well, our new test is coming out will cover those 5 plus an additional 11. So, you're going to get MTR, MTRR, MTHFR in the different variations. It'll cross within PEMT, CompT, etc. So you're going to get all of this built in to show how much support within methylation. It's so important to understand how well our body can absorb the nutrients that we're consuming and break them down and convert them to this usable form. So getting really good, solid detail on that is going to be a great way to go. People will still do the larger comprehensive test to get a blueprint or a snapshot of them, a blueprint of themselves. And then if they want to dive deeper, they can with these precision tests. So the 3 precision tests, those are going to be ready for us later this fall. I can't put dates on it because we're kind of working, with the lab to get things set up, but it's looking like it's going to be the end of October into the middle of November. Obviously, all of you will be notified about this as these become available to you. But I love the price at $229. I love the depth that you'll get. And I think you'll really, really like those 3 tests. Early 2025. I'm just going to tease on this because it's very early, but we have 2 tests that will be in the epigenetic space. One where we will be able to determine the age of different organ systems in the body. This will be a blood spat test from a finger prick. There's actually going to be 2 of these. One is the organ age, and the uniqueness of this, and I can't get too much into the details because there's still a lot coming to it, but we wanted to make sure that the science was strong enough to support this output. There's a lot of people out there doing these epigenetic tests that have, I will literally just call it pseudoscience. I don't know where they're finding this stuff, but when you get down to the real science of things, it's absolutely amazing to see this and to see your chronological age compared to the age that you would have with the genetic test. The second test is going to be really cool. This one's being developed for us individually. And this is going to be how well your body is responding to certain nutrients on your genetic makeup. So it's going to actually take a look at metabolites and pair that to your genetic makeup. So you might be taking, I mentioned earlier choline, And this is something, being an epigenetic test, that essentially you can test this test every 120 days, because it will change. The output will change. So you can see how well you're improving by eating more of something or taking a certain supplement, and find out, hey, is this really working for me? Is it improving on this, particular, part of my genetic makeup? And so we're really excited to bring these two to market. We don't have pricing yet set. We're still working through what type of test equipment this will be run on, but we will see that it looks like the first quarter of 2025 for those other two tests. But again, like I said, we're really excited about those two to come to market. All right, let's see. I'm looking at my list here. I know I mentioned, and a couple people have asked me about this, is how do I introduce this test to my patient base? I don't have time to always tell them about it. If it's on a sign up front, there's a lot of information or details. There's a couple of really good pieces on our website, revealmydna.life, that you can pull from and create a very simple front counter sign, have it be colorful. But a couple of things that I think, you just want to tell people is, this gives you a blueprint of what you should be doing lifestyle wise, foods that you should be eating, so that when you go grocery shopping, you have an idea of what you should be leaning towards in what you're purchasing. Secondarily, what is it out there that you can go and take as a supplement? And then, we're going to get to next year and have the epigenetic test, to where you can now test that and see, hey, do I need to tweak that and maybe change away from, a liver product to some other product, based upon the particular test that we're going to be doing starting next year. So a simple sign up front, but having a couple of key phrases that you mentioned to people, I think is important. We actually have a doctor in Reno, Nevada, and he had really good success using this as a way to, he used to use kind of the weight loss detox thing in January as a way to get new patients, and or to reactivate older patients. And he did this with our test and did a really good job of sending out a series of emails talking about genetic testing, all of the privacy things, so that people weren't concerned about data being lost or stolen, like we've seen, or sold off, like so many of these companies do. Again, keeping in mind that when the prices get really low on some of these retail tests, typically they make their money up on the backside by selling your data. We will not sell, rent, or give away your data, and neither will our lab. It's literally stated right front and center on the website. So as you go through this, and we're talking a little bit about that marketing side, is using little pieces to draw them back to take a look at something different that's new. And people are hearing about genetics everywhere. It's front and cover of Time magazine, and almost in every media type thing that you can see out there. This is a great little marketing piece right here that we have available for you. So if you want this, Melissa, maybe you can list this. Is this a standalone? I think it is. But maybe you can put this so people can download it right now from the webinar here, rather than having to email out to people that ask for it. And so this gives someone just a great little overview how quick it is to do this. It's a cheek swab for this particular test. The benefits of doing the test, list you kind of 4 or 5 points on the left. How to take the test, super easy, you guys. It's literally cheek swab, hit both sides of your mouth, goes back in the sample, and you send it in. So there's a great way to take this, and just, you could put that in a stand-up thing on your front desk as a trigger to kind of create a talking point for your patient base. So those are a couple little things. I think the email thing is the thing that got me the most. Was he had a great response, so I think when he first did it, he had like 24 people on the first sign up. And that's a nice kind of handsome thing if you can do that with your patient base, to do some extra revenue. And I believe that I think he charges $475 for his test up there. So that's a nice little profit margin for that, if you can reactivate people, showing them that you've got something cutting edge that's out there. So anyways, that's some of the marketing piece. Lifetime protocol, again, it's great and easy to show people this is your genetic result. You should be taking these nutrients for the rest of your life. I can put you on one of my own auto ships. We can set you up here, or you can just buy it monthly when you come from us. But it's an ease thing to do. And that way it breaks down to maybe getting just one or two products that they might need to take. They may have little things pop up in life that you want to address nutritionally, and you would add some things in, but you always have kind of that core base of one, two, or three nutrients that they're going to be taking, or herbs that they're going to be taking, to help them mitigate any issues that they might have from health down the road. So let's see. In my notes, I kind of have just about everything covered there. I'm not sure how long I've been chatting for here, but I know we have some messages. I do want to repeat again that the webinar on September 23rd is going to be on APOE, and Adam and Ben are going to run that, and it's going to be an amazing webinar, Zoom, whatever you want to call them, because they're going to go into detail on that particular gene, how to explain it to your patients and clients, what it might mean for you if that's something that you have when you get your test back. If you're an E2, what does that mean? What should you be doing? If you're an E4, what sort of urgency is there for you to pick up and do some certain things? So it's Monday, September 23rd at 4 p.m. Pacific. Register now. I think we do cap that one at 100 people. So if you'd like to get in there, get registered for that, so that you're on the list. Even if for some reason you can't make it that day, we would then be able to send you out the recording. So go ahead and register for that as you can. And we'll get emails out here starting probably the next couple of days, for that particular upcoming course or class. All right, so we got some questions here, and I might toss some of these over to Ben and Adam too, if it gets into some of the details. So I'll kind of roll through here really quick. Office phone number, you guys, 949-433-7831. You can get a hold of Melissa there. Yep, so we covered that about being destroyed or stored. It will be stored unless you ask for it to be destroyed. And privacy, there's 3 different firewalls there. Cannot be sold, cannot be rented. APOE webinar. Let's see what we got here. Any additional information for folate versus folate? Ben or Adam, either one of you guys want to tackle that? Doesn't necessarily fall into my wheelhouse as kind of the business person here. So Adam, are you
How
able?
about Eugenie or Denise? Adam's in the car. And
Okay, got it.
he might not be able to,
No,
may
no
or may
problem.
not be able to speak.
Eugenie, are you on there?
There's also Denise, possibly.
Or Denise? Okay.
Or
We'll
we
come
can
back to that
send out
one.
an answer
We'll
link.
hit on some of these other ones
Here
here.
comes Denise.
All right, Denise, let's hear it.
Okay, well, so ask me what you are asking again.
The question that we have front and center, additional information on folinic versus folate.
Oh, that's Ben.
That's kind of what I thought. I don't know if Ben's on right now. I know that he had maybe a shorter period of time. We're going to get back to you on that, Joan. If Melissa, make a note so we can get a document or an email over to Joan to make sure that we get that part covered. All right, let's see. Patient's DNA sample can be destroyed. Yes, a lot of things around privacy, which again, that's something that we hear about a lot. So just know that you can go to the Gene by Gene website, and they state it as their number one principle. The primary owner, Mr. Greenspan, he is adamant about protecting your privacy, etc. Foods that contain folate. Well, Ben answered part of that there. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate that. I should have looked a little further. I don't know why it's listed separate, but that is something that we can ask. And I'm sure there's some sort of scientific piece, whether it be from a journal or something that was published, so that we can pull out that information and try to get that to you, Joan. Thanks for the detailed question on that. The new test, the 3 new tests coming out, will be at $229 practitioner price. The comprehensive test is at $295. And I know that a couple people have asked just in this last couple days that we've been coming out with this, we're discussing it, is, it's testing, more like, somewhere in the range of 18 to 20 genes and SNPs versus 200. Why the difference? The precision, the crossing of those genes is so important to get that depth. So in the running of this test, it's a different model in what we do. So we use a company called Illumina. This is on a tray or an array testing device called an Agena, and it's just different. So there's different costs associated with that. In the insurance medical world, this thing is billed out at like $3,900, and we're getting it for $229. So it's an amazing price at a cash price for someone. Is there a comprehensive guide available for us practitioners that contains most or all of the genes? Yes, I believe on our website, Melissa, maybe you can check. I think that on where it shows the comprehensive test, I believe one of those downloads shows all of the different genes and SNPs that are tested. So you should be able to find that there. If not, we'll get you an email with that list. But yes, we do have that. There's a poster that can be printed to put in your office. Thank you for that, Adam. Those are posted there. Not as many technical questions as I thought, so I guess that's good. I recently sent out a kit to a client and one of the vials was broke. Can I register a new kit for that client without paying for another one? Lisa, most likely the answer is yes, if it came that way to us. If it broke during transit, yes, a replacement would be done. But there has to be, I believe it's called an RMA out of, okay, thank you. I believe it's an RMA that we have to set with the lab first so that when they get it, they're able to put it in as a duplicate test for the same person. So Melissa, I see you just reached out right there. Connect with Melissa and she'll help get you set up with Matthew at our intake desk at the lab. Outstanding. All right, you guys. We're going to go ahead and wrap up for today. Anything else? Any questions that anyone else has or whatnot? Do they get the results automatically? So the way it works is when the report is prepared and ready, it is uploaded into our portal. And our portal is called Nucleus. In that, you have your own pass sign-in. So you're able to log in and you can see the results of just your patients. So you take that when it's ready and you hit the little download button and you can download it, and then you can export it to the patient. You can print the 100 pages. We've got people that put them into booklets. We actually have, I think, something set up with one of the printers in Michigan. If you want to send them, they'll actually print the report for you and put it together if you're okay with it going to them. It does move outside of our containment at that point. So data is shared with a printer, completely third party. It's not part of us at all. It's just someone that's doing that because we've got a few people that wanted to do that. I think that's about it. Any other questions? If not, I think we're going to wrap up for the afternoon. Really appreciate everyone. Like I said, if you don't have an account with us yet, I would love for you to open an account. Go to our site, fill out the form. It does ask for a little digital signature. Send that in, and then we'll get you set up. It takes a day or so to get things into the system, and we'll get some tests sent out to you. I think we send 5 when you first sign up. And then if you need more for other patients, we can do that. Thank you, Melissa. It's 10. So you actually get 10 tests sent to you. There's no charge for the tests. You'll have those. If you use them, great. If you don't use them, it's unfortunate because someone's missing out, but you'll have some tests sitting there. All right, you guys, have a great day, and we'll see you on September 23rd at 4 o'clock. Thanks, guys.